This video comes about a week after the incident in question with some perspective and a little personal ranting. I'm not sure exactly how much team against team bashing goes on, whether within states or just by reputation, but this post is in response to a post in a discussion group, and it is really more or less meant to make people think. About a week ago, I checked messages in a group on Facebook which is all paranormal discussion. I found a long, all caps lock post by someone who does a radio show about how sick he was of everyone bashing everyone else and how sick he was of hearing about nasty comments volleyed between members of such and such paranormal teams. One of my friends, who heads up a team, commented with a logical and rather good opinion, and he immediately came back to absolutely bash my friend. The comment he made got a lot of negative responses, especially from me. I wrote that he was not practicing what he was preaching on the post that he'd written in such an obvious fury, and that I was not impressed, and hypocritical comments get you nowhere. This is where my thoughts come in. Really, if you're going to make such a long, all caps, public opinion about anti-bashing and paranormal unity, do not come back and bash someone else for their opinion. That simply is not practicing what you preach. It's downright mean. There is no need to get so defensive because someone was stating their opinion, just as you stated yours. If you are so about paranormal unity, then keep in mind that everyone who works in the paranormal field will have a different opinion about, well, everything. No need to lose your head. It's ridiculous that we all feel as if we need to revert back to middle school debate tactics while discussing a field that is still considered experimental or even non-existent. It does not help the image of paranormal teams worldwide to bicker like school children clashing over a toy in the playroom during a rainstorm. We are much more mature than that, people. It's fine to have healthy debates, criticisms, and other such necessary things, but for the love of Pete, don't surreptitiously tell the world that you are childishly opposing someone else's time-formed opinion. It bothers me to see so many people involving themselves in petty fights over petty things when you could be doing far better things with your time. Forming new theories, writing books about the paranormal, forming organizations to educate people about the paranormal, becoming a point of contact for youth experiencing paranormal activity. I don't see the point in fighting. This field is already riddled enough with fakery, superstition, mistrust, and easy explanations for some of the things that a client claims. We are not silly kids staying up late and telling ghost stories. We are, or I hope we are, reasonable adults conducting scientific experiments in an attempt to capture hard evidence of things that society says do not exist. Paranormal investigators are an odd breed because we like to stay up all night, we like to talk to the air, and we react positively to the phenomena that would scare a normal citizen of the world. We are extraordinary. We do not need to succumb to the dreary ordinariness of argumentative children. The greatest illusion of paranormal investigation is that it is a simple yet expensive hobby pursued by overcaffeinated crazies with hallucinatory disorders. People watch the paranormal reality shows and laugh because they can't see themselves doing anything similar to what the participants in the shows are doing, and they get a good third-degree scare in the darkness. They do not realize exactly what goes into the investigations. The planning, the money, the driving, the equipment, the technical prowess, the patience, the time, the open-mindedness, calm, methodical thought, etc. We know what we are, we know what we do, and we enjoy being and doing it all. We don't often feel the need to constantly explain ourselves to outsiders, unless they are guest investigators with similar interests. All I can say here is that bashing other investigators because they do things differently is just not okay. Don't try and disguise your bashing idiocy as a rational discussion, because the rest of us are not fooled. We know better, and we will call you out on it. Just because you host a radio show about all kinds of different topics, including sex, I've seen the profile of the show, does not mean that the rest of us will put up with your negativity. We are not afraid to show you what a real investigator does. We attempt to rationalize and debunk things. We methodically work to put people's minds at rest, and yet we are always faced with new challenges to overcome, and we overcome them by being level-headed and not jumping to stupid conclusions. And that goes for interaction with the rest of the paranormal community too. We do our best to embody paranormal unity as it is presented by the action group Paranormal Unity, and also it is presented by the like-mindedness of this extraordinary community. The person who started this whole thread of thought and this video has no idea of the true nature of paranormal investigation. By all accounts, the only reason he is even in the group I mentioned is because he has hosted one of the other members of the group on the radio show. Even with a marked interest in the paranormal, I do not see this person as a rational or sensible person. That is the biggest problem with such out-of-line comments. It completely drains any credibility or sensibility you may have presented prior. It is almost like being a politician, especially if you are active and outspoken. Often your comments are monitored, and if you are not consistent, trouble can easily ensue, and you only have yourself to blame.